Today on Locked On Hornets, David Walker joins me not only to recap last night's Summer League game, but Summer League in its entirety. But it's not over yet because the Charlotte Hornets, they're going to the Summer League playoffs, baby. I can't wait to talk about it all. Let's get it. Locked On Hornets.
You are Locked On Hornets, your daily Charlotte Hornets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
In a minute, cuz we live.
Playoffs? David, the Charlotte Hornets are going to the playoffs.
I can't believe it. I can't see you. I just do want you to know that. But I'm sure that
can you feel me? Can you feel my energy?
You should be able to. We're not. This is new territory, Doug. This is playoff territory. This is undefeated territory. So we're all feeling our way through this together. But what a ride! What a ride!
This is Locked On Hornets. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Doug Branson. You can find my work on everyhornetsboxscore.com, where you can read my recap of Summer League game number 4. The Charlotte Hornets win 106-81 over the San Antonio Spurs. I'm joined by David Walker, my longtime co-host on many variations of this podcast, sitting in for Walker Mail of WFNZ 12-3, Wes and Walker. He's on vacation, last day of vacation. Him and I will be getting back together on Monday. You can subscribe to this podcast wherever you get podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, whatever weird app you're using these days to get audio podcasts. Find us there. Do subscribe on YouTube, by the way. We eclipsed 9,000 subscribers. David, did you ever think we would get to 9,000 subscribers? That's insane.
What was our goal? What was our goal when we started? I can't remember. 1,000?
I don't know. For our just more than our family to watch and pat us on the head and tell us we're doing a good job.
Outside the household.
Yeah. So I think we achieved that. We've built a nice little fan base here. And the Charlotte Hornets are helping by continuing to draft these exciting young players that are getting everyone's attention, including Kon Knueppel, who did play. Liam McNeely, Sion James, Tijon Salon, they all take a seat for various tendinopathies and sorenesses and hips and Achilles. So the Hornets being extra careful with their new health team, making sure these young guys all get to camp healthy. But Kon Knueppel did play, and I just want to start there because I think that's what a lot of people are going to be talking about. He had a wonderful game, 19 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds. Your thoughts on what Kon Knueppel, also 2 steals in this game. Your thoughts on Kon Knueppel in this game and then overall in Summer League?
Yeah, I mean, obviously a little bit of patience with Kon and all these guys, right? It's Summer League. It is a genuine mess out there at times, especially the further you get into, what are we at, 4 games now? But specifically last night, I loved his confidence. You can see him getting more comfortable when he hit that shot in the corner that kind of bounced around the rim and went in from a corner 3 on a quick release. He knew it was going in the whole time. He was in motion, he was in the flow, and he felt good about it. And of course, the Kobe Jordan low post shoulder fake fadeaway in the second half of that game was great to see because he's taking a little bit more on himself. He's trying. He didn't have. You mentioned all the guys that were out last night. There was a little bit of, gosh, what's this going to do for Kon? Are people going to be focused on him big time even more? And, all the guys out there handled it well. But I think you have to feel great about Kon. His feel for the game, I think, is the thing that most people are calling out right now, the behind-the-back pass. His playmaking is coming out some more. And so you're seeing some of those things that maybe you didn't see it do quite as much. Maybe in the ACC tournament you saw it. But some of the stuff that everyone was raving about, right, coming through the draft, like this guy just knows the game. He's got a feel for the game. He's got a high IQ. He's not the most athletic, but he can hold his ground. And so obviously the shooting for me, I was like, well, if he can't shoot, we're going to have some different discussions. But I'm not too worried about the shooting as we get going here. So you like what you see just from a playmaking standpoint and just a feel for the game, right? I mean, that's what you have to be most excited about. Hadn't exploded or gone off hadn't had a Cooper Flag 30-point game, but you feel good about how he's mixed in with everybody else.
Shot making and feel for the game. Those two things have to be otherworldly if you're going to be a non-athlete athlete in the NBA. And I think that's what we've started to see unfold at this summer league level. And yes, caveat, it's summer league, okay? He's going to have to do this in training camp, and then he's going to have to do it in preseason, and then he's going to have to do it in the regular season. He's going to have to check all of those boxes, but if you don't check this box, that's when you start to get, it doesn't make you all the way concerned, but it starts to make you concerned. And he's checked, I would say he's checked this box once, twice, thrice. He looks like, agree or disagree, like he looks like he deserved to be the 4th pick. And honestly, I think he's even eclipsed that with this game. I think he's given me an idea that in 2 or 3 seasons, they could do a redraft on some Ringer podcast and people could talk about Kon Knueppel as, they will. They'll talk about Kon Knueppel as maybe the 3rd best pick, maybe the 2nd best pick. I don't know about the first, Cooper Flag. I think it's probably going to be Flag. But you could talk about both of those Duke kids being 1-2 best in the draft over Dylan Harper and over VJ Edgecombe. I didn't say that after the draft. I wouldn't have said that right after they drafted. I certainly wouldn't have said it after the first game. I'm starting to have that idea after I see him do this. You called it a behind the back pass. That undersells it. It was a Larry Bird-esque. He jumps midair. He's midair, grabs the ball, and hammer tosses it behind his own head. Can't see that where PJ Hall is. He just has a sense. And I'll go to another non-athletic guy, Nikola Jokic. Jokic has an otherworldly vision, an otherworldly understanding of where he is on the floor, where everyone else is on the floor. Feel for the game. He can shoot it. That's what you have to do if you want to be a star and be a non-athlete in the NBA.
And so let's stick on the vision piece of that real quick, because to me, honestly, that is the most exciting element. How many times have we in the past thought about someone else playing with LaMelo Ball where he's not the only guy that's kind of seeing these passes before they happen, right? Like he's getting into the paint, making people commit, kicking it out to the corner. He's getting under the basket, kicking it out to the corner. He's drawing people now, and he's able to find people that are wide open. It's summer league, but you can see the vision. You can see the feel for the game. You can see all that stuff. Like that's something, regardless of who the Hornets have drafted. Certain, we've been like, can Brandon Miller develop that piece of his game? Can he be someone who's a playmaking for himself and others? Like Kon looks to be that guy already. That's like a maturity that you don't often see. We saw it out of LaMelo. Like he's basically an alien when it comes to passing and being able to find people on the open floor. So like having another guy out there like that for the Hornets is going to be big. That's a huge piece of Kon's game. And that is, we love stuff that doesn't count on the stat sheet, right? Like that's great. That contributes to winning. We do want to see some stuff on the stat sheet from the 4th pick overall. And he's doing stuff on the stat sheet now too. So the one thing I think, that he's still going to have to figure out, and you can see him get in a spot when he drives to the basket now, he's not going to explode over people, right? So like that's going to be something he's got to figure out how to, and he's already kind of doing it. He's getting stuck, and if they're collapsing on him, he's able to kick it out. That's going to be an adjustment for him in the NBA, obviously. But that was a known, right? Like that was a known. He's not going to be jumping over people, blowing by people once he gets to the rim and underneath in the paint. But yeah, I mean, the vision you see, that's what gets you kind of excited. And also, Doug, like I mentioned that corner 3 and these shots, they're not super wide open, right? They're not the easiest shots. And you have to think, even though it's summer league and even though you're transitioning that into the regular season with Brandon Miller out there, with LaMelo Ball out there, with NBA players and shooters out there on the floor with him, he's got to be getting some better looks than he will at times in these summer league games. And that's just going to help his shooting.
All right, I want to keep talking about Kon Knueppel, and I want to talk about this summer league playoffs. So coming up on Locked On Hornets.
Bees everywhere!
I have an interesting, exciting stat on Kon Knueppel and his summer league journey so far. I'll reveal that. We'll talk about everybody else. PJ Hall had some amazing plays in this game. And then we've got a question from the Sicko Satchel about the stakes of these playoff Summer League playoff games that we are about to witness? Is it the most stakes on a game since the last time they made the playoffs? Is it on the Mount Rushmore of Hornets games since 2015-16? I can't wait to talk about that with David Walker coming up on Locked On Hornets. Today's episode of Locked On Hornets is brought to you by Game Time. Game time. There it is. We've all been there, waiting forever for concert tickets to go on sale, only to miss out on the show that you've been dying to see, particularly if it's Coldplay. Buying tickets shouldn't be as stressful as being caught at a concert with your side piece. That's where Game Time comes in. Game Time makes getting concert tickets fast, easy, and affordable. Prices actually drop the closer it gets to showtime, and you can save up to 60% with their last-minute deals. Plus, their zone deals pick the best seats in your section for you. No more endless scrolling. You'll even get a panoramic seat view before you buy, so you know exactly what you're getting. I love that feature. And the best part, the price you see is the price you pay. No hidden fees. Take the guesswork out of buying concert and show tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. More Locked On Hornets ahead. Back here on Locked On Hornets, thanks so much for making us your first listen every day. Let's get back to Kon Knueppel, and I promised an interesting stat that I saw this morning, reading it while I drank my coffee. And this is from the great F5 Substack that works with a lot of statistical analysis on the NBA. And this blog post, and I will link the work in the show notes if you want to check it out for yourself. But the subject of the Substack post was sticky stats and unsticky stats in Summer League. So which stats can you look at that translate for rookies into their rookie season and which don't? And essentially it boiled down to like the percentages, shooting percentages, not really. But assists per 36, blocks per 36, and three-point attempt rate. So Kon Knueppel, great three-point attempt rate. He has thrown them up there, so that's probably going to translate for him, and probably in a role that you saw him knock down those corner threes, right? That's going to be his spot when LaMelo's driving, when Brandon's doing his thing. He's going to be open in the corner, reset the feet really quick, bango. That's going to be money for Kon Knueppel. But what excited me was to look at Kon Knueppel in relation to the other top 10 picks in his draft class. And Kon Knueppel's assist per 36 rate is the highest among all 10 of those rookies. Higher than Cooper, higher than Dylan Harper, who's a point guard. And by the way, minutes weren't far off between him and VJ, him and Dylan, because remember, Kon missed a game too, and some of these guys got an opportunity to play over in Utah or in the California Classic. So it's not a huge disparity in minutes, and it's per 36, so it sort of smooths that out anyway. But Kon's assist rate at 5.9, almost 6 per 36, was higher than Dylan Harper, higher than VJ, higher than Cooper, higher than Jeremiah Fears, who is a point guard that's playing for New Orleans. So I wrote this, and I'm interested in your opinion on this, David. I wrote this in every Hornets box score. I'm like, we have to see what happens in preseason, but I feel somewhat confident that Kon is going to come into his rookie season a better playmaker, maybe a better passer in general than year 2 Brandon Miller. Now we'll see what year 3 Brandon Miller is, but we know the wrist injury, he's not 100%, so he hasn't been in the lab in the way that a player that's fully healthy would. I'm pretty confident like Kon's going to be a better playmaker.
That's what I'm kind of saying with the vision piece, right? I don't think that's far off at all. I mean, it's just especially if you're doing that in Summer League. Sure, these guys have had, 10 practices maybe together or something that's thrown together haphazardly. But those assist numbers, speak to where he's finding guys. They're getting good looks as a result of him. Obviously, they're knocking them down. But, I don't think that's way off. That's what I'm saying. Like, he and LaMelo out there are going to be your two kind of creators, I think, if it shakes out that way. Yes, we would love to see Brandon Miller be able to step up and kind of equal that playmaking as well. But, Brandon – look, he's been he's been the go-to guy scorer, right? I mean, that's just not the piece of his game that was as far along when he came into the league as scoring. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think that's crazy to say at all. We'll see how it continues to develop. But, like, look, we know when he gets out there with better players, chances it's not likely those numbers or those opportunities he's finding are going to go down, right? It's going to get better opportunities for better players who are probably going to hit more shots.
I think Kon ends up being like playmaker insurance, essentially. Like if Brandon can't develop that part of his game and sort of finds the ceiling, maybe he can be, a more talented 3-and-D type of player. So it like goes beyond role player, and it's like better scorer than just a standard 3-and-D player. Better scorer, better defender. And that can be the version of Brandon Miller that develops, and your team still be able to move forward because you have a special playmaker in Kon Knueppel. All right, let's move to some other storylines in this game. I thought the other big storyline was Damian Baugh and PJ Hall going like in an all-out war on the same team, on an all-out war to try to get this final two-way spot. So the Hornets, they signed Drew Peterson from formerly of the Boston Celtics. They signed him to a two-way. Pretty sure KJ Simpson, he's already on the two-way, going to continue to be on a two-way moving forward. He's had an excellent summer league. Yep. And then you've got one more. Who does it go to? Damian Baugh, who had it last season, or this PJ Hall kid who absolutely detonated in this summer league game. One-hand hammer. It was a baptism. I called him the Apostle Hall. He's out there baptizing dudes. Crazy.
PJ is that football player guy that came out for basketball practice and just found out he could wreck dudes and just put them through the rim. But he never stops, Doug. You watch him, like that dunk is the exclamation point on the end of a play, but you do not want to run into him, nor do you want him to run into you. Like, he is a stone wall. He terrorized the ACC while he was at Clemson. There was a short time where rumor had it he was flirting with like doing a 5th year at Carolina, and that would have been fantastic last year. But I saw him play in the Dean Dome. He knocked off Carolina. I think gave them their only home loss that year, and it was a big reason because he was just nonstop workhorse. And you can see him out there in summer league. He is fighting for a job. There is nothing else he could have done out there to like improve his resume or to show folks in the Hornets front office that he deserves to be there. And listen, if there's a center rotation in the league where he has a good chance to earn that contract, I can't think of a much better place. And we'll see what he does through the rest of summer league here, but I'm on board with it. I mean, you talk about putting that guy in practice, you worry about him hurting people a little bit, but that's just amping up the level any game he's in. And I still think the Hornets are at that place where they can use to have as many guys like that on the floor. And look, you get to put him out in an NBA game. I mean, who knows? But I don't think he's going to get pushed around that much. I don't think he's going to get out hustled. If there's a rebound out there, I could see him diving for it. So, yeah, I mean, PJ Hall has made a name for himself in summer league, and winning those 4-game helps, obviously.
11 points, 4 blocks, 8 rebounds, 5 of 8 from the field. Did put up a 3-pointer, but it didn't go in.
Sure.
I still think the idea that he's a stretch big on this level is still a little mythic. It hasn't shown itself to me in reality yet. But people do claim that that's the case. 19 minutes. We could be right now, you and I could be having a conversation about Ryan Kalkbrenner, but we're not. And he didn't have a bad game. I thought he actually looked pretty sound. Right. Fundamentally, like defensively, thought he made an impact for the Hornets in this game. 9 points, 4 of 7 shooting, 21 minutes, only a few more than PJ Hall. 5 rebounds, 0 blocks. But PJ Hall is the story here, and I think that's significant for a couple of reasons. And the Hornets needed to win this game by a lot in order, because of the point differential rules. They needed to win by a lot to clinch. And they did so. A large part of that was Kon Knueppel, 19 points, KJ Simpson, 19 points. But the other large part of that was PJ Hall and then Damian Baugh into the second quarter, just going absolutely. He went Damian Baugh on them, 3-pointer after 3-pointer. 4 of them made in this game, 7 of 10 from the field. He was plus 26. Kon Knueppel was plus 26. Crazy. And the Hornets, they're going to the playoffs, baby. First time ever, Summer League playoffs. I mean, the Summer League playoffs are not very old, but the Hornets getting a shot here for some postseason basketball. What have you thought? Just give me your sort of 30,000 foot take on the Hornets and how they've approached this summer league and how, the young guys have done.
Yeah, I think you can tell they knew what they needed to do last night. And kudos to ESPN for this much, putting the plus 21 up mathematically, what we needed to keep watching for. But yeah, I mean, they've put together a crew here that really everybody out there is obviously looking for a job. Not everyone, but, trying to get those contracts where they're not already secured. But they've really put together. I mean, remember last couple of seasons ago when they just went to summer league with no point guards, and
I do remember that.
And so KJ Simpson's done
and
a nice job
and expected the other young wings that they had drafted just to suddenly play well with no point guards to deliver anything to them. Yes, I do remember that.
And we've mentioned T-John a little bit, but he had a nice productive summer league. He's still a little bit on skates out there at times. He's still young. He's still learning. You can see he's put on some muscle, #muscle watch. 2025, but he's also slowed down just a little bit where he's able to kind of make some moves with the ball and get to the basket. Maybe last year wasn't as comfortable doing that. But I mean, as a Hornets organization, how can you not feel like things are at least focused, moving in the right direction? Like they have a mindset, and it's not just the shot making. I mean, last night they were locked in on defense. A 21-0 run doesn't happen with only making your shots. They blitzed the Spurs, another 3-0 team, by just exuding superior effort and getting out and passing lanes and trapping and doing all things that you want to see on defense. Like you hope some of that translates to the actual regular season level, but you got to be thrilled with what the Hornets have done out there in Vegas. The rookies, we didn't see Liam McNeely. You mentioned Larry Bird before. I thought he may have chosen the 33 because of Bird, but I know Kon Knueppel chose 7 because of Bird and the Team USA number. So we may have 2 Larry Birds out there on the team, which is
you can never have enough Larry Birds. That's Larry Birds. People are probably like, dude, what are you talking about? Kon Knueppel, you're comparing him to Larry Bird, you're comparing him to Nikola Jokic. And all I would say is that we don't do this every summer. David, you and I have been doing this for a long time. We've been watching Summer League a long time. We've been watching Hornets rookies for a long time. We don't get this excited this quickly about every rookie and every performance. In fact, it's often the opposite. We're doing the other thing where we're like, oh, it's okay. It's just summer. We'll just see what happens. Even with and this is not a critique of Brandon Miller. This is more like when we left Brandon Miller, we were like, okay, we saw the flashes, and now he has to. We saw a little bit of it. But it wasn't the same as like, wow, Kon looks like he's already too good for Summer League. Like he just dominated in a way that was like, okay, if he can do that on the next level, now we got to start having a conversation about how special he can be. And again, we just don't do that very often. And I would say like Nikola Jokic became Nikola Jokic out of nowhere. Like he was a deep second round pick. And everybody was like, young Hansen, same kind of thing. People's eyes are opening suddenly. If it happens for Kon, it might happen in the same way, even though he was a 4th overall selection, because everybody had this label of, he's a high-level role player. So if he starts to do those things and break out in that way, then, it's going to be, you're going to be shocked by it.
And don't you think the Hornets have put together, like they brought in guys, you're not seeing a lot of guys go out there and look completely disoriented or out of place or uncomfortable, right? I mean, I'm the way they put together their summer league roster, they're clearly looking for a type and roles, right? And PJ Hall is a perfect example. I mean, they're like, let's give this guy a shot, but Baugh as well. So, yeah, it's been exciting, man. I mean, I don't know how many texts you've gotten around Summer League, like chatter, but I've gotten more Hornets chatter from various threads, and social media is always there, than I got from the second half of last season. Certainly.
I got a text from Paul George. And it said, "Wait a minute, I'm second guessing my take. I think I might have been wrong. The Hornets might be building a culture. Let's talk about that coming up on Locked On Hornets."
Bees everywhere!
And I'm going to dip my hand into the sicko satchel once more because we got a great question about the Mount Rushmore of games with stakes with the Charlotte Hornets since the 2015-16 playoff series. and these playoffs, they might qualify. I'll ask David about that ahead on Locked On Hornets. Today's episode of Locked On Hornets is brought to you by OpenPhone. If you're running a business like I do, every missed call, it can mean a missed opportunity. Think about it. Last time that you had a service emergency and you picked up the phone, you made a call, and they asked for a call back, did you actually wait for the call back? Probably not. You went about your day. That's why you need OpenPhone. It's the #1 business phone system that streamlines your customer communication and helps you scale, all from an app on your phone or your computer. I love that I don't need to carry 2 phones. With OpenPhone, I can just manage all of my business calls and my text and my personal calls from one phone and do the business stuff from one app, whether I'm at my desk or on the go. My favorite feature is the shared inbox. Your whole team can jump into any conversation without missing a beat. Plus, you get AI call transcripts and summaries that are absolute game changers for staying on top of those crucial follow-ups and customer interactions. And right now, OpenPhone is offering our listeners 20% off your first 6 months. Just go to openphone.com/LockedOnNBA. That's openphone.com/LockedOnNBA. And if you're switching from another provider, they will even port your number for free. OpenPhone, no missed calls, no missed customers. More Locked On Hornets ahead. Last segment here of Locked On Hornets for the week. It's a fun Friday, David. It's fun because the Hornets are going to Summer League playoffs. There will be games with stakes. We don't know if Kon Knueppel is going to play. I made the case that he should have played in this game. After seeing him and what he did, I now may make the reverse case that it's probably time, even though it's playoffs. I get it. You want to win those games, particularly if either Liam or Sion can give it a go. Then just make some room for those guys and let Kon. All right, we've seen enough. Kon with the Larry Bird. As soon as he did the Larry Bird pass, I was like, all right, you're good. You're good, kid. Just go have a seat.
Yeah.
So the Hornets do get to the playoffs. And I wanted to jump off of something you said there because you started to mention Chris Gent, the coach of the team. You've mentioned the roster that they put together. And I think that's my big takeaway is that they took this seriously, even more seriously than I think they took it last year. And because this organization had a year with the Greensboro Swarm to develop certain guys, the Hornets played hard. They all cared. They wanted to win. And you saw that not only from the guys that are legitimately fighting for rotation spots or minutes, because the Hornets don't really have roster spots, right? Like Jalen Sims, MJ Walker, like you're not getting a roster spot. So what are you out there fighting for? Certainly you could be auditioning for another team. But I think also you're seeing these guys make assists. You're seeing these guys make plays. They're not playing completely selfishly. And that, to me, is the signal of the culture of saying you're with the Charlotte Hornets right now. This is what we're going to do. And if you don't want to do that, then you can go play for another Summer League team. But this is what we're going to do here. But Jalen Sims already knows that. He played for the Greensboro Swarm. And you're seeing the culture has to be the culture in Charlotte, Greensboro, and Las Vegas. The culture can't just be the culture in Spectrum Center. It's got to be everywhere. And I think that's what you're starting to see. Nothing was taken for granted. Everything mattered. And it's super exciting, David.
Yeah, basketball plays. They're making plays within the flow of the game. They're not forcing too much. Everything's not perfect, but you're right. They're making the right plays and finding the people. And that's, that can be contagious, right? Like if Kon's out there doing it, if KJ's out there doing it, if the ball's whipping around, that's going to be something that just kind of flows down to whomever is out there. And just one quick thing on PJ Hall that I didn't mention, I wanted to get your thoughts on. I've been pleasantly surprised by his you mentioned his blocks, but like his rim protection. Like he's not the biggest guy, but he's athletic enough where he's challenging a lot. I mean, he's had some actually spectacular blocks around the rim. And like, again, if there's boxes to check for this Hornets roster, rim protection is still there, regardless of Plumlee and Kalkbrenner, being there. So, checking a lot of boxes as far as his resume goes.
No, I think you're right. He's playing super hard. The question in my mind is, can he play disciplined enough? Because we've seen some high foul totals from him. And so, again, when you get to the next level, it gets even tougher because guys are even bigger and they're even craftier, and they know how to expose every one of your weaknesses. So we'll see with PJ Hall, but I think he's put himself on the dance floor, and we could have had another conversation where it's like PJ Hall not anywhere close to the dance floor. So he's there. All right. Let's go to the Sicko Satchel to end the show. And we got a ton. I asked for the Sickos to help me out this week because I was doing these solo shows, and they responded tremendously. I had so many that I'm not going to be able to get to them all, but trust me, if you submitted a question, Walker and I will tackle them next week, and we got a lot of great ones. But I want to finish with this one from Jay Brown, Buzz City, of the 44th Kenny Gaddison Garrison, the Gat Man. My son Brooks of the 44th Kenny Gaddison Garrison was born in 2017. And this, let me preface this. This was written before last night's Summer League game, so I'm going to kind of twist this question around a little bit to fit what we're going to talk about here today, or what we've been talking about. So Jay Brown Buzz City continues. Does tomorrow night's Hornets matchup of 2 3-0 squads battling for a spot in the Summer League Final Four make the Mount Rushmore of biggest Hornets games of his lifetime since 2017? It's a low bar, which we love here on Locked On Hornets. Yeah. We own the low bar. And the vaccinated of the Sickos will claim any regular season game is more important than Summer League, but I think this is a legit question for those with the sickness. Obviously, the 2 playoff play-in games are up there, but it's open for debate. There's maybe 1 in-season tournament game in the discussion, but then it gets real dark considering things like rookie debuts, extending that super random win streak we had against the Pistons from 2018 to 2022, Red Panda halftime shows, etc. Well, first of all, Jay Brown Buzz City, there is no vaccination. I wish there was.
There's no cure.
There's not. There's no medicine. There's no cure. The hope is the sickness, and you're also hopeless once you have it, because there's no getting away from it. So the question is, David. So I'm going to twist the question here and say, are these playoff games, the one playoff game that they have coming up, does it automatically make the Mount Rushmore of most important games for the Hornets since 2017?
It's insane. It's insane and depressing to think about it. But when you watch these and you get down to crunch time, like last night when they started saying, all right, 21 points, that's their goal, or if they get 7, they'll be in this spot, or 21 points seals it. I was poo-pooing this. The last Summer League game, I was like, all right, I think we've seen it. We know it's happening. People are starting to dip out. But for Hornets fans, I just think you can't have enough good energy, enough good mojo, regardless of where it comes. If there's a basketball game going on and the Hornets are wearing jerseys out there and their Chiron is on the, scoreboard, like, you got to take and run with that, man. Yeah. There hasn't been that much. If you're born in 2017, you certainly don't remember anything prior to that or have any nostalgia for anything. So, like, yes, grab this, hold this, cradle this. I'm not sure if we need to start planning parades for a potential Summer League championship. I wouldn't quite go that far.
What?
But
come on, try on. It needs a parade. Let's go.
Check back with me after this semis, right? I don't know. But yeah, man, I think you're full within your rights to celebrate this and to make it certainly appointment television, right? Let's get on board here. Let's bring these rings home for these guys.
Yes, it's on the Mount Rushmore. And that you can look at that and be like, that's sad or depressing, or you could look at it like, this is the beginning of developing an actual Mount Rushmore. Like, it has to start somewhere. And that's where summer is for feelings. And you feel all your feelings about these playoffs. Feel disappointed, by the way, if they lose. Feel disappointed because there's always time to rein it back in and say, oh yeah, it was summer. There are other objectives. There are other goals. But feel that. Because and I hope the players feel that. If they win, I hope they feel that. And I hope some of the veterans that have been visiting Las Vegas in any small way, they don't have to look at it and say like, ooh, that matters. But I hope they feel it in some way of like, yeah, like it's cool to win stuff. And I would like to win more stuff with the Charlotte Hornets and how they did it. Right? How they won this game against San Antonio was that everyone gave a bleep on the defensive end of the floor in particular. It was turning defense into offense. And this is not a stellar defensive team, this Summer League team. Right. There are a lot of players that are offense first, but they said, I'm offense first, but I'm going to be defense first in this game. That's how this varsity squad is going to have to play because it's a lot of Colin Sextons and Pat Connaughtons and Kon Knueppel's coming off the bench. They're saying we've got to give max effort on the defensive end of the floor just to be average defensively. So I hope they absorb that, take that in. And for fans, absolutely Mount Rushmore, feel it. And I'm happy that so many are in the Every Hornets box score chat. So many are in the Sicko Satchel right now. It's a cool, again, obviously there are hopefully are better things to come, but I think it's a cool time to be a fan of this team right now.
Imagine looking back on us, 2-3 years down the road, and Kon Knueppel has become a key contributor, a starter.
Larry Bird
being
even
mentioned. Yeah, Larry Bird. And you'll just say, it all started. I was there when it started. That famous summer league season where he led the scrappy group of players who just didn't know any better. They don't have any of the history of the Hornets. They don't have the Bobcats history. This is they're forging their own way, right? And this is maybe the beginning of that. So by all means, pull your son out of camp or daycare or whatever. Take days off and view these games. Whatever you got to do, enjoy it.
Also, J. Brown Bus City says, because he was adopted into the sickness, happy first birthday to Kenny Caddison, also of the 44th
That's great.
Gaddison Garrison.
That's great.
Kenny
That's good.
Caddison. I mean, Walker would be proud. He loves to name the goldfish. Really and we're proud of Kenny Caddison, and happy birthday to Kenny Caddison.
Indeed.
That's fantastic. That's catastic. And this has been a catastic episode of Locked On Hornets. Thanks to David Walker. You don't get here as often as you do previously, and that both makes me a little sad, but also it makes me, and this episode has been all about flipping the narrative, and it also makes me thrilled when you do. It makes me even more excited when you're here.
Right back at you. It's summertime, we're filling in, but we'll see what happens. They keep this streak going. We may be doing more.
Oh, yes. Even more reason for the Charlotte Hornets to win, because if they do, David's going to stop by more often.
Let him know. Let Liam know out there. Someone in Vegas, tell him.
The stakes. All right. Thank you for listening to Locked On Hornets. Walker will be back next week with he'll have a vacation slideshow full of, I think he went to the mountains where there were salamanders, apparently. I don't know. I wasn't listening when he was telling me about where he was going. So he will reveal it all on Monday. Until then, subscribe to the show on all of the places. Apple Podcast, even if you don't use Spotify, just do a free account and subscribe to us there. Subscribe on YouTube, wherever you get your podcast. And then sign up for everyhornetsboxscore.com, even if you do it for free, because all of the Summer League recaps that I'm doing are free on everyhornetsboxscore.com. So sign up there. Follow David on Twitter at David B. Walker. And until Monday, have a great weekend and go Hornets, go America. Let's swarm Charlotte.